Hey everybody, welcome to my garden. I thought it was high time that I did a garden tour. It's early spring, it's the middle of April, and things are finally starting to pop. And I haven't done a video in a really long time, so I thought it would be a good time to just take a stroll, see what I have blooming in my yard. Our yard is pretty messy. We're in the middle of spring cleanup and trying to get ready for warmer weather. So ignore any mess you see. But yeah, let's just walk around and see what's blooming. I also have my bird station set up. I'm hoping to attract some orioles, so I have some orange suet in my feeder. I haven't seen any yet. It might be too early. Our weather has been amazing the past couple of weeks, but then next week we are going to have a cold snap, so I'm just trying to enjoy the weather now, and hopefully the cold snap doesn't set back too many of our plants. But this is the east side of our house. This is where we have our herb garden. So for now we have chives are growing. They look crazy. They're humongous. We have a lot of daffodils blooming. These daffodils were here when we moved in. So this was actually a flower bed before we turned it into an herb garden, but the daffodils are a fun, just something fun every spring. So there are a couple of different, I have no idea what these varieties are, but these are so pretty. These are like a double bloom, and they smell really good. We also have these. And before, I guess the owner, the previous owner really liked daffodils. I had no idea there were so many different varieties. So as I've seen them spring up in our yard, there are a lot of different types. I have no idea what they're called, but it's just been interesting to see all the different shapes and sizes and colors of daffodils. So this is, our oregano is completely taking over, so we have to get in here and divide that up because it is trying to take over the entire herb garden. Our sage is starting to pop back. And surprisingly, the thyme came back this year. Usually thyme is not a perennial plant for us, so that was kind of a pleasant surprise, but we'll see. We'll probably still buy more and plant more, so that we use thyme a lot for cooking, so we want to make sure we have enough. Let's see what else. This is one of my flower beds. Things are just starting to pop up. Got some autumn joy sedums, some lamb's ear, coral bells, some black-eyed Susan leaves popping back. The yarrow looks really, really good. We have more daffodils. They all smell amazing. They smell, it reminds me of honey type of smell. It's very noisy out here today. It's a little bit windy and the birds are also going crazy, so they're pretty noisy. That is some penstemon that's starting to pop back. And then raspberry wine bee balm is spreading like crazy, which is good. I want it to spread. Sort of take over this area. This whole spot was just a weedy mess, and I finally got around to putting some weed barrier down just because the amount of weeds was overwhelming. But what I will do is gradually over time I'll move the wood chips away, I'll cut into the weed barrier, and I'll plant things that I want. And then hopefully that we can get the weeds under control. I think I have not been positive about these shrubs. I think they might be a flowering quince, but when we moved in, they were completely overgrown. So we cut them back all the way to the ground because they weren't flowering. They just looked unhappy. And now the leaves look really good. So I'm excited to see if we get any blooms, and hopefully if we get some blooms, I'll be able to tell what kind of shrubs these are. I have some plans for this spot too. We just dug out a big honeysuckle shrub, which is invasive in our area. So we have a bunch of them in our yard. I'm trying to get rid of them gradually. So this has left a nice open spot for me to think about popping some flowers in here. So I'm excited to think about that. And then I also have this tub over here, which I got this for like $40 at Farm and Fleet. And my plan is, it's a stock tank used for watering livestock, but I'm going to use it to make a little pond garden. So I'm excited for that too. I tried making a water garden last year, but it was kind of late in the season, so there weren't a lot of plants available and they just didn't have enough time to really grow. So I'm excited to get that started this spring. I'm also hopefully going to be planting some cup and saucer vine on that trellis. I have that started inside. It's my first time trying that, so we'll see if I can keep them alive. Tulips are popping up. This is just sort of a woodland area. We have a lot of trees, a lot of maple pine trees, so it's a lot of shade and very dry. So we just have some woodland type plants over here. These are mayapple. These are actually a native, and it doesn't look like they're blooming yet. These are a native woodland plant. At the base of the plant, they have one very small flower when they bloom, and they're really beneficial for pollinators because they're one of the first flowers to be in bloom in the spring. So as the pollinators are waking up, they're hungry, but there's not a lot in bloom yet this early. These are some dogtooth violets, bulbs I planted last year. I'm sorry, 2 falls ago. Another native woodland plant. They just started blooming. And then there's some lungwort back here that I have no idea where this came from. It just appeared on its own, which is fine with me. The leaves are very interesting. And I've seen some bumblebees over here, taking advantage of those. And then we have some bleeding hearts they're just starting to flower. I think these are some kind of a forest anemone. It's hard to say that word, anemone, but I'm not 100%. These were all here when we moved in. Let's see. I do have some tulips that started blooming over here. Just popped open the other day, so I'm really hoping. It's supposed to get down to like 28 degrees in a couple of days overnight, so I'm really hoping. I just have too many plants to cover, so I'm really hoping that everything makes it and it doesn't hurt my plants too much, but there's just too many things to worry about covering, and most of the stuff I have are hardy perennials, so I hopefully won't have to worry too much. Some more yarrow looking really good. My rhododendrons are looking amazing right now. Super pretty. They've been in bloom for, I want to say, a week or so. I don't know if they're going to make it, if the blooms will make it past that cold snap we're going to have, but the bumblebees have been all over this thing. Really, really pretty. There's another one. So, good for the pollinators. So pretty. Let's see, what else is going on over here? Hostas are just starting to just barely pop up. Got Hearty Geraniums looking really nice and green. They get sort of a coppery color in the fall, and oh, like right here, like a burgundy copper color in the fall, and they stay that way all winter, and then in the spring they really green up. So these are looking good. Pardon the traffic. We do not spray any kind of fertilizer or pesticide on our lawn, so we have these lovely, others might consider them weeds, but a really pretty, some sort of a woodland flower, I'm assuming. I'm not sure exactly what they are. They sort of look like the anemones, but not 100% positive. But I think they're pretty, and they're good for the pollinators, so I do not mind. And these are really short-lived. They bloom just in the spring, and then after the blooms fade, they sort of die back into the grass, and you don't even know they were here. So just a benefit of not spraying pesticides and herbicides on your lawn. Look how pretty that is. Let's go check out, I'll take you to the other side and show you how the vegetable garden is coming along. Okay, I just paused it to walk over because I figured you probably didn't need to see me walk across my lawn. So this is our vegetable garden. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 raised beds now. Got our compost heap back behind the garden. And for now, we just have some of our cool weather vegetables in. It's still much too cold to put anything else. So we have, let's see, beets. I'm not sure if you can see, these are not through the netting. We've got beets, we've got kale, we've got a couple different types of lettuce that are looking pretty good. We have cabbage, broccoli, and pak choy. And we planted carrots in here. I'm not sure if those are weeds or I think those are weeds. I don't think the carrots have sprouted yet. So that's pretty much all we have going at the moment as far as vegetables go. We have our plastic covers at the end just for those nights where it's getting a little too cold. For the most part, these vegetables are pretty tough. But again, when it's going to be 28 degrees, we're going to cover these up that night. We do have some pea shoots starting up on these trellises. So hopefully, we don't always have good luck with peas, so hopefully this year they'll do okay. And we also planted some garlic last fall, which is our first time trying our hand at garlic. So we'll see if we're able to pull that off. And that's pretty much all we have right now. We have some more daffodils up front. We're really focusing on cleaning things up, pruning. We still have leaf cleanup to do, transplanting some shrubs, just odds and ends like that while we wait for the weather to warm up. So that's where we're at right now. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I know it was a quick tour. I'm going to try, my goal is to do garden tours more frequently, so that you can kind of have a better idea of how things are progressing. But there's not a whole lot going on right now. But it's exciting because things are blooming, but we're not quite there yet because we still have that threat of cold weather. So we're anxiously waiting for the threat of frost to be over so that we can really focus on planting. That's the exciting part for me. All right, well, hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.